Hi everyone, welcome back to Healthier with Elizabeth. And now we're going to run through all of the Vintage Health crystal essences, the global range. So these are the pre-made blends. Now there are 13 of the drops available and there is one spray. So I'll start with the spray. That one is called Grounding and Protection. It's a really cool little device to have in your pocket for a number of reasons. So grounding and protection, I originally created it because I wanted to be able to clear my therapy room between clients, especially when there was some heavy energy lingering around. So, but I had this problem where I couldn't go and say smudge with, some herbs or anything like that because I had some chemically sensitive clients. So this one is virtually an odorless spray. It does have a little bit of ethanol in it to preserve it, but that dissipates very quickly. But the idea is with the spray that you can use it as a room spray. You can also use it to clear yourself of negative energy. So I actually this morning had a little bit of a drama with family, but I was committed to making this recording. So I've actually been using the spray myself just to clear. So, I've been spraying it over myself down the midline and just taking a deep breath and then being able to clear myself. So it's really useful for that. If you have an argument with someone, but then you've got to get into another headspace, switch gears, you can use the grounding and protection spray for that. You can also use it for as a monster spray. So this one's interesting because for the kids that are a little bit sensitive or maybe they're seeing things and, as adults, we don't see them. This has a twofold effect. So you give them the spray and they get autonomy. They get to have this sense of control. They can spray it under their bed or spray it in areas that they feel uncomfortable. It gives them that purpose, right? But at the same time, it honors the fact that if they are seeing something in the unseen world, then there is a grounding protection component. So this is where I love this product for helping out little ones. And I actually used it when my kids were little. We lived in Montreal and we lived in an apartment that overlooked an abandoned church, beautiful church spires and everything. And it hadn't been used as a church for a while. And we would walk around the neighborhood and we would go past this church, but it scared the kids. So we took some of the grounding and protection spray and we sprayed it around the perimeter of the church. It made them feel better. They weren't freaked out anymore. And we could go along with our business. So, that's just an example of how we used it within our lives. And I've also had some feedback from clients where they've taken it along to holidays with the family, with family members that might be a little bit problematic in some of their views or, have made my client feel uncomfortable. So they've just taken the spray along, sprayed themselves. And then when that family member's maybe, dropped some kind of inflammatory comment and then left the room, they've gone and sprayed the room or sprayed after that, problematic family member. So, these are very specific examples of how it's been used, but it's a really good one. So, and it's a nice foray into crystal essences if you're not yet comfortable with maybe taking drops in your water. You want to know a little bit more before you start ingesting, which it's fine. We use them all the time, but if you just want to give it a go, the spray is a nice way to go. So grounding and protection, switching gears, clearing yourself, clearing spaces. monster spray, and, you know, problematic family members. You can put them in whatever category you want in terms of monsters or not. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But anyway, that's the spray. Now that comes in a 100 ml format, which is like the format that I keep in the office. And then it also comes in a 50 ml, format, where that's for sort of on the go if you need to clear yourself. Right, the next ones are the drops. So I'll go in alphabetical order, just makes it a bit easier for me to keep track of what I'm talking about. So the first one in the list is abundance. So abundance is basically for those that feel like they're in a cycle of lack. They're lacking financially, spiritually, in love, you know, they're just feeling like they can't get ahead. So abundance is about reprogramming that or refocusing yourself, so you can sort of step back, evaluate what's going on, but also and make some changes then accordingly if you need to. But also it just shifts your perspective in terms of maybe there are things out there that you can be grateful for and thankful for. So there are abundances in your life. It's also about getting off that hamster wheel of needing more to feel happy and alive, thinking that you have to push yourself harder, have more things, earn more money. It does reframe that part of your relationship to what abundance means. So, and yeah, creates an element of thankfulness. So anyway, that's abundance for you. The next one is appropriate boundaries. This is actually one of my most popular ones. It is a game changer for those of you who are people pleasers, who have not actually figured out how to put yourself first, who have been giving way too much of yourselves, but in a way that is detrimental to you. So appropriate boundaries has been brilliant. I've got some really good case studies around that. I'm thinking of a friend of mine in particular who, gorgeous, and just gives too much of herself in her business, with her family, puts up with stuff. And she was letting me know that when she started using, she actually used the grounding protection spray first, and then was starting to use the drops, appropriate boundaries drops. But now she's really saying no. She's telling people that she's not putting up with that anymore. She's picking and choosing in her job as to who she works with. She's a consultant of sorts. So she was just putting up with clients that didn't appreciate her and didn't sort of understand that their relationship with her, what she provides, is a service. That's a privilege. She's not a slave to them. So she's going great guns. She's been able to talk with family members that have just for so long taken her for granted. So anyway, that is appropriate boundaries. It is all about shifting that relationship to how much you're going to give of yourself. Now, it doesn't mean you become completely selfish, but really appropriate boundaries, being in balance, is being 50% selfish and 50% selfless. It's not about giving your all to everyone. And it's about reprioritizing who gets your energy. You know, it's about quality, not quantity, in terms of giving yourself away. You know, so like as an example, this friend of mine, she's really focusing now on her own family for Christmas and not necessarily worrying about like toxic relatives around her that bring her down and just don't make her feel good. And she's thrilled. So, and I'm thrilled for her. So anyway, that is appropriate boundaries, a brilliant one. All right, the next one, balance. So balance, if you were to look for one word in terms of a target problem area to work on, it's overwhelm. Balance is for those who really struggle to create work-life balance, to create peace in their world. It creates space for you to really just take stock and not give. So it's a little bit different to appropriate boundaries, where Appropriate boundaries is really about those that are struggling to say no and to break old habits of people pleasing and bits and pieces. But balance is really when you're in this state of overwhelm, you're feeling like you maybe need to be doing everything and being everywhere, but it's like you kind of can't get off the hamster wheel. It doesn't have that servitude feel to it. It just has this, you're in such overwhelm and you don't know what to do. And you're a bit kind of like deer in the headlights about it. So balance is about stepping back, creating space to reflect. It's about addressing that overwhelm, bringing in peace, bringing in joy, bringing in priorities, and really inviting you to actually create your life as you want to see it, where you have ebbs and flows that are natural and you're not just constantly in this stress state of overwhelm. So that one's balance. Now, the next one is flow. Now, flow and balance actually can be, where are we? Can be similar in the problem state that you're presenting with. But the difference is with flow is that flow is for those who really struggle with the concept of surrender. And that might look like you have a bit of a control issue. So that's kind of, whereas like balance is like when you're just sort of so overwhelmed, but you're a bit sort of feeling like a wet noodle. Whereas flow, funny I said control, flow, there's more of a hard edge to it. You're a bit annoyed. You're a bit resentful. You're doing all the things and out there and other people aren't doing what they need to and you feel like you can't stop, but it's because you need it done a certain way. So I hope that distinction is a bit different. So flow encourages surrender. It encourages trust that things will work out. It enables you to step back, but that is so other people can step in. Whereas, and it might not look the way that you absolutely need it, but it's still going to get done, and you come to terms with that. You accept that, and it creates space for you and peace, and even enriching relationships. Because if you're not resentful, if you're stepping back, if other people are able to step in and help, they get to contribute. So. It depends. I mean, it depends on the people around you. There's a whole lot of factors around that, but that's how flow works, is just to be able to, for anyone that's feeling a bit resentful that they have to do all the things, it's inviting you to take a step back and surrender and just let things flow. So yeah, that one's that one. That one's that one. Okay, move on to the next one, because that's the next one. No, next one is gratitude. So gratitude really is for people walking around for whatever reason, whatever life lessons and bits and pieces have got you to this point. You tend to walk around very cynical, glass half full. You're almost waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time. This might be justified. You might have had a lot of knockbacks in life. So it really is about getting to the bottom of that. And there's another essence I'm going to talk about, that if you actually really are struggling with releasing some old scars, then that is probably the one you start with, and then you step into gratitude afterwards. But for now, I would start with just, if you're half glass full, half glass empty kind of people, then gratitude is the one for you to try. Or people around you, So this one is about people that, it's really hard to see the joy, and there is probably some joy. I guess if you've ever journaled and you've done a gratitude journal, or you've ever just written a list, 3 things I'm thankful for in the day, but you do that repetitively, so you start to train your brain to start to see the good in any situation. You start to feel like the universe is conspiring for you and not against you, but it becomes this innate feeling. That's what you're going to be aiming for when you're on the gratitude essence. So yeah, there's not much more I can say about that one. But obviously with all of these, I'm just giving you a snapshot. There is much more information on the website, including when you actually go into the shop to look deeply at these and say you're going to go purchase one. There is information around problem key areas that these address, the positive states that these are going to bring you into. It looks at the chakras, it looks at colors, it gives you a much deeper description in terms of, the problem state it addresses, who it's for, and then what can you expect in terms of your journey on this essence. So yeah, just a snapshot today, but sometimes it's nice to be able to talk these through. You get a little bit more than just reading on a page.